In this video, I'm going to reveal what are my 3 top social media platforms that I'm going all in on to launch my product and get it up to the targeted mark of 100K in product sales, which is gonna take a long time. But I'm gonna review what 3 social media platforms I've decided to go all in on, and also, which one of these I think is gonna be the most important for the product launch. So this is officially day 53 of my challenge to launch a random product. Take any kind of product. I already decided I'm gonna be launching a book, an info product, because I just happen to have written a book in the early parts of actually towards the end of last year, and I think going a little bit into this year. And so I just happened to have a product. Hadn't really considered how I'm gonna sell the product. Wasn't really planning to like make a big kind of sale thing out of it. But when I looked around, needed a product to launch to showcase my product launch, 7-figure product launches process. This turned out to be, a product I could actually use. So that's what I'm using. Now let's look at the actual process for how you launch a product and get it up to 100K or beyond in product sales. So there's what I call my core 5, right? And social media marketing, organic social media marketing is one of the 5 key strategies. There are some other key strategies in the core 5, like having what I call the year-long profits funnel, which involves setting up like an email sequence and things like that. Like there's different kinds of strategies that you can use. There's also paid advertising, which I'm not using at this point, but I might bring into the process later on down the line. Those are all ways you can get sales for your products, whether that's an info product or an e-commerce product or a software as a service. And so for me right now, the focus is on this thing with organic social media marketing. So why I decided to go all in on this is you don't need money to use organic social media marketing to promote your product. So that's a big advantage. You don't need a big budget, right? You hardly need any money, like using YouTube or using, Instagram or Facebook is actually free. But I'm going to show you why, I'm using other platforms besides, besides some of the ones I mentioned. So let's go into the actual 3 platforms that I settled on, because there's like probably hundreds of platforms at this point that you could get on. But why did I choose these 3? I think these 3 you'd like, at least the way I see it, they probably have the biggest potential to get people looking at your product and to get people interested in your product. So the first of these is Twitter, okay? Twitter X, Elon Musk's Twitter X. I wasn't high on this platform like early on, and I think I changed my mind a few times before deciding that, okay, I needed to use Twitter. But what I have noticed on Twitter is that you can grow your audience surprisingly quickly. And that's the reality, guys. So if you need traffic for your product, Twitter, that's where it's at. That's number 1. Not number 1 in terms of traffic, but one of the top 3 in my view. And so I'm going all in on Twitter to try to get this info product, this book, launched and get it making sales and eventually get it to 100K in product sales. Now that's gonna take time. Like I say in my 7-figure product launches process, it will take maybe anywhere between 7 to 15 months to get a product up to a 7-figure product launch. Okay, so I understand this is a long-term thing for me. It's not something where I'm gonna get reach overnight or like start making info product sales like quick, right? Like this is day 53, and I haven't made a single sale But I understand that's the process. I gotta follow the process. If you follow the process, you'll eventually get there. And so that's where we are. Now, platform number 2 that I'm using, going all in on, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, guys, is powerful. Here's a quick demographic insight for you. Of all social media platforms, LinkedIn users have the highest median income, which is really incredible. So the people that are on LinkedIn, there's a lot of professionals, there's a lot of investors, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of policymakers, there's a lot of different kinds of people that collectively probably control a disproportionate percentage of global wealth when compared to other social media platforms. So if you have anything at all to do with business, it's a good idea to be on LinkedIn because you'll get an audience that is well off and can afford to buy your products and solutions. And it puts your products in front of the right people where you can make sales really quickly once things get going. Now, like I mentioned, I haven't made any sales yet, and that's totally fine. I'm following a process, okay? I'm working on my process, but I just need to be all in on LinkedIn at this particular point in time. That's part of the process. Now, let's move on to platform number 3, which is YouTube. Now, YouTube is very, very powerful. It's another one of those platforms. I didn't have a lot of doubts about if I should be all in on YouTube. Because like it's a platform that I personally like. I've learned a lot from people posting on YouTube. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, gained a lot from, so I can see the value of the platform. I didn't need to be sold on that like Twitter and maybe LinkedIn, where I didn't consume content on there nearly as much. So I kind of knew the value of YouTube. There is actual educational content, and so I decided to also produce actual educational content that I know I would watch myself. And that's one of the interesting things about creating on YouTube, right? Like you actually spend some time watching your own content or consuming your own content. If it's good, if it's helpful, if it's genuinely helpful, you'll be like, wow, that's interesting that I was thinking about that. Like you actually find your own content to be helpful and entertaining. So those are the 3 platforms, guys. Now, big question, and what I thought you would be getting into is which of these 3 do I think is the most powerful for driving info product sales or product sales for any product? Now, I would say that hands down, without a doubt, that's gonna be YouTube. Just because YouTube is long form, okay? That's unlike Twitter. Twitter is like a tweet is like 5 seconds to consume. LinkedIn is like posts. That's like literally 30 seconds, 40 seconds to read through a LinkedIn post. On Twitter, you can do a video that's like 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. You can even do some super long videos that are like almost an hour long. I mean, you can go beyond that. But I think for a lot of creators, an hour is like where they're gonna tip out. But you can do that if you want. And the value of that is that you get a chance to showcase and talk about your product and really talk about your brand, why you are building your product the way you're doing it, why you made the product the way you did it. So hands down, that's just a powerful way to be able to build up audience. And so that's what I recommend. It's what I'm going all in on myself as well. I'm going all in on these 3 platforms, but the top one and the best one in my view absolutely is YouTube. So you can follow along to see how the journey unfolds, and if you need some resources as well to grow your own side hustle or grow sales of your own products, then you can grab some of my downloads that are free, and the links will be in the description.